Anime is everywhere today. You see it on streaming platform, social media, fashion, even music videos. But anime did not suddenly appear overnight. It took decades of experimentation and cultural change and storytelling to become what it is today. In this video, we are going to explore the history of anime, where it began, how it evolved, and why it became such a powerful global medium. This isn't a list of shows, this is an explanation. Before talking about history, we need to understand one thing. Anime is not a genre, it is a medium. That means anime is a way of telling stories in a single style or category. Anime can be light-hearted or serious, realistic or fascinating, made for children or adults. This flexibility is important because it explains why anime has survived and grown so long. Unlike many forms of animation, anime never boxed itself into one audience. It allowed creators to experiment freely. That freedom shaped everything that came next. Anime began in Japan in the early 20th century. At the time, animation itself was still very new around the world. Early Japanese animators were inspired by Western animation, but they quickly developed their own approach. These early works were extremely simple, limited motion, basic character designs, hand drawn frames. Technology was limited, budgets were small, but something important happened here. Instead of focusing in realism, early anime focused on expression. Expression mattered more than smooth movement. This creative mindset would later become one of the anime defining characteristics. After World War II, Japan went through major social technologies and changes. Television became more accessible and anime found a new platform. This era marked the transition from short experimental animation to serialized storytelling. Anime series became part of everyday life. They aired regularly, they built a long term narrative. This is when anime began to develop recurring characters, ongoing story arcs, emotional attachment with audience. Anime was just something you watched when it becomes something you follow. The 1980s were turning points. This was the era when anime truly found its artistic voice. Studios became more confident, stories became more ambitious, visual styles became more refined. One of the most important developments of this era was the creation of Studio Ghibli, founded by Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata. Studio Ghibli showed that the anime could be quiet, reflective, and deeply emotional. Their films don't rely on actions or spectacle, they relied on atmosphere, emotion, and meaning. This changed how anime was perceived, both in Japan and internationally. Anime was no longer just an entertainment, it was art. The 19 the 1990s 90s, this has changed everything. This is
This is
when
when
truly
truly
became
became
global.
global.
Series like Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, and Pokemon were broadcast internationally. They reached millions of viewers across different centuries and cultures. For many people, this is what is their first time to introduce anime, even if they don't know it at that time. Television played a major role here. Watching anime became a routine after school, on weekends, at specific time slots. This created strong emotional connections. Anime was no longer something distant or foreign, for it became familiar. While anime was becoming popular, it was also becoming deeper. The late 1990s gave us stories that challenged expectations. Neon Genos Evil Lagoon is a perfect example. On the surface, it looked like mecha anime, but underneath it explored like themes like anxiety, loneliness, and identity. Around the same time, series like Cowboy Bebop and Ghost in the Shell showed that the anime could be stylish, philosophical, and mature. Anime wasn't afraid to ask difficult questions, and the honesty resonated with viewers. Then came the internet. This completely transformed anime. Fans no longer had to wait for local podcasts or physical releases. Anime became easier to access, easier to share. Streaming platform moved geographical barriers. A viewer in one country could watch the same anime as someone on the other side of the world. At the same time, the accessibility led to explosive growth. Anime fandom became global, connected, and constantly active. Today, anime is more diverse than ever. There are stories for every taste, every emotional, action and adventure, romance and slice of life, drama, fantasy, and science fiction. Anime is no longer one thing, it is an ecosystem of stories and creators and audience, and it continues to evolve with the culture and technology. Anime did not succeed because of one show or one era. It survived because it adopted technology, it adapted to audience and stayed true to storytelling. The ability to grow and change is why anime remains relevant today and why it will continue to matter. Anime is still being written with every new series. A new chapter begins. So now I want to ask you, what was your first anime? This is Alice World and this is only the beginning.